Production support for the weekly special is provided by IU School of Public Health Bloomington, addressing public health needs by preventing disease, promoting health, and improving quality of life across the state and around the world through research, teaching, and community engagement. The Al Cobain Recognition Endowment Fund, established by friends and family of Al Cobain to support jazz initiatives on WTIU and WFIU. And WTIU members, thank you.
Welcome to the weekly special where we're in Muncie bringing you more Hoosier stories.
Delve into the Ball family history. Take a tour of Minnetrista and walk the Cardinal Greenway.
Check out 9,000 exhibits at the Museum of the Academy of Model Aeronautics and grab a pint at the Herat Pub.
It's all coming up tonight on the weekly special.
Hello, I'm Daryl Neer.
And I'm Erica Sagone.
Welcome to Muncie, home of Ball State University and so much more. We're standing in front of a statue that's a tribute to Edmund Burke Ball, one of the Ball brothers, and not a statue of Chief Muncie as many people believe.
Well, the Ball family is behind those famous glass ball jars, but they're also integral to Muncie's history. Let's find out a little bit more about the legacy of the Ball family.
From Ball State University to the Ball Memorial Hospital, the Muncie of today remains indelibly tied to the history of the Ball Corporation and their famous jars. It's a story that begins in 1880, not in Indiana, but Buffalo, New York, with 5 brothers and one big dream.
The Ball brothers looked for a business that they could do together. Their mother told them always to stick together, and they listened to her, and they did. They tried everything from making fish traps to cleaning carpets. Neither of those worked too well, but then they started making wood-jacketed kerosene cans. That took off. The tin, after a while, corrodes, and so they started using glass for the interiors of these cans.
By 1884, the Ball Brothers Glass Manufacturing Company was in full swing. To maximize factory production, the brothers expanded into other glass products, including their first glass fruit jars, the product that would eventually make Ball a household name.
With glass, you have to have all that energy to make the glass, to melt the sand, and that's when they started traveling throughout Indiana and Ohio, looking at places that had the natural gas. Natural gas was discovered here about 1876. During the natural gas boom, there were about 150 glass companies in this area. Frank Ball got a letter from James Boyce of Muncie saying, "Come here." He was offered money, land, and free natural gas. He got a great deal.
Construction on the new Muncie factory began in September of 1887. By 1888, the first glass rolled off the line.
Each segment of the family, they were very, very good at developing their own talents and using their own talents appropriately in order to really get the Ball name known. Frank Ball was the company president for 63 years. Edmund was the one who worked with machinery. He understood the machinery, the mechanics. George was very much the leader of the company. William was an excellent salesman, so he was out traveling around selling these new jars. Ball pulled everything in. So they made the jars, they made the lids. They bought straw board companies and made their own packing crates. They also started writing the recipes. The Blue Book, the Bible of canning, was actually developed in the George and Frances Ball house. George and Frances did it in their own kitchen. They developed their own monopoly. Even though other companies were still doing this, they pretty much developed their own monopoly.
Their diverse business model, as well as numerous inventions like the FC Ball machine, helped the company survive as natural gas dwindled. Over the next decade, they acquired glass companies throughout East Central Indiana and across the country. By 1900, they were the largest manufacturer of fruit jars in the world, bringing financial windfall not just to the Ball family, but Muncie as well. The first major gift to the city came in 1917, when the Ball brothers purchased the bankrupt Eastern Indiana Normal University, donating it back to the state and providing financial support as it grew into what it is today, Ball State University. By 1926, the family formed the Ball Brothers Foundation, dedicated to enhancing the quality of life in their Indiana community, starting with the Ball Memorial Hospital.
The family has always stuck together. They all lived here side by side. And so I'm the oldest now of anybody because nobody else is living older than I am at this point. I'm the daughter of William H. Ball, Jr., of the five Ball brothers. My grandfather was William H. Ball. They were all very community-minded. They wanted to build the community. They wanted to make economical growth. They were all very concerned about the growth of everything that they could help. All the donations that go out for charities, they all went out of the invested funds that were in the foundation.
Both the Ball Family Foundation and the Ball Corporation continued to grow despite the economic challenges of the Great Depression and the devastation of World War II. As the war drew to a close and the next generation of the Ball family, Edmund F. Ball, came into power, the company and its efforts faced an uncertain future.
Ed was a visionary, and he met these challenges head on. The factory was actually getting worn out, and so at the end of the war, up through the end of the 40s or so, they had a lot of decisions to make. Would they redo this factory? Would they go out of business? The decision was made, we don't want to sell. This needs to remain Ball Brothers Company, but we need to think about what else we can do. They were looking ahead. They were watching Sputnik like everybody else in the early 50s. And they found a small company in Denver, Colorado called Control Cells and bought it. And that's how they got into the aerospace industry. But from the time of the early 60s through the most recent flyby of Pluto, every single time the United States has gone into space, Ball has been involved.
As the company's involvement in aerospace grew, glass production slowed. By 1962, the Muncie factory had closed. The Ball Corporation headquarters remained in the city until it moved to Colorado in 1998, closing a century-long chapter of Muncie manufacturing, but not of community involvement.
Eric, it's really important to learn about that Ball brother history because it is so important to Muncie, and we're fortunate to be on the estate that was once their property.
Yeah, it's called Minnetrista, and where we're standing here was where Frank Ball's home was, but there are many Ball brother homes still on this property. This is an amazing cultural campus. It's got beautiful gardens and workshops and exhibits and concerts and, wouldn't you know it, canning workshops.
Let's learn a bit more about this important community gathering place and Ball brother legacy.
We actually start by telling everybody that Minnetrista is the home of the ball jar. And that's what this property is. The five Ball brothers, of course, moved here in the late 1800s. And when they decided to start building their homes, they decided they all wanted to stay together. And where we're standing was a home that was called Minnetrista. And it actually became the name of the entire estate property for the entire family. And it means gathering place by the water.
As the family members aged and moved on, the gatherings dwindled and the houses became empty. Then, in 1967, the estate's premier home, the FC Ball residence, and all the family artifacts inside burned down. The tragic loss sparked the Ball family to re-examine the estate's future.
In 1978, Margaret Ball Petty wrote to her cousin Ed and said, "What are we going to do about Uncle Frank's place?" They knew they wanted it to be something significant to give to the community. And from that, Minnetrista was born and opened its doors 10 years later in 1988.
In addition to the historic properties along the boulevard, the Minnetrista estate features 40 acres of gardens, walking trails, and bike paths, open and free to the public to enjoy. Minnetrista holds countless special events, including free concerts and stage performances on the lawn, as well as annual events, such as their Fairies, Sprites, and Lights program.
All the tea and talks that we do have different themes so people can come and enjoy, and we have a lot of hands-on workshops. So you can do glass workshops, you can learn to make beads, you can do stained glass, canning workshops, of course. So all of those things happen here, and again, it's bringing people together and having everyone not only work together here, but learn that you can actually do these things at home or in other places in your community. The ball legacy is not only here at Minnetrista, of course. It was felt throughout the state, really. And many people are aware on the surface, but don't know where it came from. So we get to bring that story to them, and we get to collect their stories and share those stories throughout the region.
Minnetrista's Cultural Center features rotating exhibits, not just on the Ball Corporation history, but the region's history as well. Behind the scenes, the center has over 10,000 square feet devoted to the preservation of artifacts and material that document the history of East Central Indiana.
It is a lot of work, a lot of great fun though. 25,000 artifacts, so three-dimensional, everything from about 1,000 ball jars. We have a lot of material about events in Muncie history, about people, and not necessarily famous people. We don't, we want to document the everyday life too. So cataloging everything, we want the background on everything, the story it tells.
Ed Ball, who was our founder, really didn't like the name museum because he felt museum connoted that stuffy kind of place where you couldn't touch anything and it was always dark. So he never wanted to be called a museum, but I think Ed would be delighted with the way his non-museum has really grown into the community today and all of the different pieces that have come together here.
Minnetrista is always open to the public, and the exhibits are always on rotation. Get more information at minnetrista.net.
Minnetrista is all about preserving history in Muncie, but now we've traveled to the Cardinal Greenway, which is all about making history. Angie, give us an overview. What is the Cardinal Greenway?
The Cardinal Greenway is a rail trail, and what that means is we bought land from the rail company back in '93, and we made that land into a multi-use pedestrian biking trail for the community.
And this isn't just any old rail trail. This has some notoriety in Indiana.
That's right. It's the CSX rail line. It used to travel from Cincinnati in Ohio up through East Central Indiana to Chicago. And the Cardinal Greenway, one reason it got its name, people might think the Ball State Cardinals, the Cardinal Redbird, but the actual last train that traveled, the passenger train, was the Cardinal. So it was kind of fun that that's what our Greenway is named, you know, in reference to the trains that used to travel.
What's special about this rail trail compared to other rail trails in Indiana?
Well, we're kind of partial to our rail trail. We are one of the longest rail trails, probably one of the longest in the state of Indiana and then also in the nation, just because we have 62 miles of trail. And of those 62 miles, 52 are continuously paved, so you have a huge stretch of trail that you can enjoy.
Now here in Muncie, a great place to hop on the trail is the Weiser Depot. What can you tell us about the depot?
Our depot is historic in itself. It is on the registry for historic buildings. It was built in 1901, and as you can see, you know, it's gorgeous. We restored it to its original luster as much as we could, and it serves as the headquarters for the Cardinal Greenway Trail system. So not only do we have some train buffs that come in to see the depot, we have the trail is literally out the back door for the Cardinal, and we have cruiser bikes that we loan free for people to use. So there's just lots of things happening in this depot for us, and again, anyway, it is our headquarters. We also manage the White River Greenway for the city of Muncie. We have a horse trail and of course our building.
How long is the stretch of the trail in Muncie?
The Muncie area is, let's think, it's from Gaston to here is 10 miles, so you're out in the country a little bit, and then from the depot to Prairie Creek is about another 7 miles, so about, maybe say 10 miles or so in the city limits. Maybe that might be a little bit long, but lots to see and enjoy. If you're in the city of Muncie, you sometimes think you're in the country because you're through the wooded area and it doesn't feel like you're in town, and then you go on out to cornfields, more wooded area, the river. There's just lots to see along the trail.
Now here at the depot, this part of the trail actually runs next to the rail line. Do we see trains come by? Is it still in use?
The Greenway, of course, is not in use, but there is a section along the depot that has an active rail line. So we have trains go through here all the time. We don't even realize them because we're so used to it, but the trail users will definitely have some experience with trains running right beside them for a short stretch here behind the depot.
Well, Angie, thank you so much for giving us an insider's
a
look to
problem.
the Cardinal Greenway. And if you'd like more information on the Greenway, visit cardinalgreenways.org to find maps, directions, plus a listing of upcoming events. Thanks so much, Angie. We really appreciate it. And Daryl, I think we should head out onto the trail.
I agree, but we're going to move first from trains to planes as we visit the Academy of Model Aeronautics.
Just outside Muncie, along a stretch of country road and tucked among fields of Indiana corn, sits a nationally recognized museum dedicated to over 200 years of aviation.
A lot of people think of aviation in general and they think, well, the Wright brothers invented the airplane, everything followed after them. Well, actually more than 100 years before the Wright brothers, there were people experimenting, trying to understand how to successfully fly, how to design, how to build a full-size aircraft. And one of the first people to do that was Sir George Cayley. And he used models, a model glider and a feather helicopter that was powered by a whalebone. And using those models, he did his research and wrote an early paper, is actually the first one, called On Aerial Navigation. So that feather helicopter, you're looking at 1796. The early rubber band powered airplanes being flown in the 1870s. And so by the time the Wright brothers successfully fly their airplane in Kitty Hawk, there's really a better understanding of what's involved in the lift. You start to see model magazines for kids like St. Nicholas magazine, as well as a lot of full-scale aviation magazines, start to have sections in them on model airplanes. And at almost the exact same time in New York, a lady by the name of Lillian Todd forms the very first model airplane club. She really sees the value of aviation in general and how much of a great tool it is for kids. And in 1915, they hold the very first airplane contest.
As the contest grew in number and scale across the country, the competitive spirit helped fuel technological innovations and designs. As a result, model enthusiasts sought to establish a governing body for the model industry. During the 1936 National Championships, organizers founded the Academy of Model Aeronautics.
The Nationals were one of the vital parts of the Academy of Model Aeronautics. In the early days, it was how did you build your airplane? You know, what techniques, what tips, what materials did you use that made your airplane better? In 1923, it was one rubber band powered event. Free flight, which is the oldest form of modeling where you just let the airplane go and it's timed for how long it will fly. There's control line, where the modeler is standing in the center of a circle and they're controlling it with a handle that has one or more lines that are connected to the airplane, and then you have radio control. And so going from one event to now having a multitude of different events within those three types, it became more and more difficult to try to find a flying location. And so in the 1980s, the board decided that they really needed to try and look for a national flying site. They eventually settled on the site here in Muncie. We have about 1,100 acres, and about 800 of that is devoted and available for flying models from.
Today, the site includes the Academy of Model Aeronautics National Headquarters. They're a one-of-a-kind museum dedicated to the history of model aviation, and of course, competitions.
We've had upwards of 30 countries actually send teams here to Muncie flying model airplanes. What's so great when they come is it's just like the Olympics. They walk in with their flag and you get to meet all of these people from all over the world who have the exact same interests. They all love model aviation, which is always really neat to see, especially in the museum when they come in, because they've read about some of these airplanes. It joins one of almost 10,000 pieces that trace everything from the model airplanes themselves to patches, pins, hats, jackets, pennants. So we try to tie all of that together, and the museum does rotate things around. So what you come in and see this time, you might not see later on. So what's neat for us is to be able to have this flying site where visitors, for example, they can see in the museum a radio-controlled pylon racing aircraft and read about it, but then on occasion they can actually go out on site and see that event. It makes a wonderful opportunity to see the history here and then see active current participation by the modelers out on site.
The museum recently received designation as a civilian museum with the National Museum of the United States Air Force program. displaying the latest concepts and technologies being tested by NASA Dryden for visitors to see.
For them to be able to come in and see the hobby aspect of it, but then especially for families that bring in kids, where they can see, yes, they could get involved in a hobby, but in today's world of unmanned air vehicle, there is a tremendous amount of possibilities for those kids for careers. It really ties the past and the present and the future all together. There's nowhere else in the United States that you can go that you can see all of these things together. For a visitor, I think it's a really neat opportunity that just here in Muncie, you know, next to an 1,100-acre field is a treasure like we've got.
The museum is open year-round, and almost every weekend you can find enthusiasts at the Academy flying. Don't miss your opportunity to join in. Visit modelaircraft.org. You know, Eric, it's really impressive the international attention and visitors that the AMA gets.
Yeah, and speaking of notoriety, this place here lands on all kinds of best bar lists. Let's go inside the Herat and find out why.
Let's go. Well, after walking through the Herat Pub, we can't be more excited to be here. As you've seen, it's just a different type of atmosphere. And we're with Stan Stevens, the owner of Herat. Stan, how did you come to envision this pub?
Over 20 years ago. We've been open for 20 years. There was just no place to go to get good domestic and imported beers, craft beers. I wanted to drink better beer.
And but the design, this isn't a traditional bar. I mean, we can go to any bar with TVs and video games, but the Herat harkens back to a different time.
I don't know how bored you want to get, but if you think about America, the United States was formed in pubs. Men worked all day, they got afford, they drank and they talked. When you come to the Herat, you kind of provide your own entertainment.
You can't help but notice the Viking influence of the first floor. You can see the shields and the swords, and you can see the dragon. You come up to the second floor, you can see the longboat room. Where did that Nordic Viking influence come from?
Different things. I owned a game and hobby store, Wizard's Keep, for years. Started it so that the readings, Beowulf really is about Norse adventurers in England.
Thus the name Herat.
Yes, the high ceiling mead hall.
And one of the things that you can also notice are the number of beers that you have on tap. There are certain beers that you will not find here at the Herat.
Yeah, we've never done the big domestic beers. No Miller, no Bud, no Coors. We've never had to. We built up a fairly loyal following fairly quickly.
Well, that loyal following allowed you to actually be carrying some of the beers that have become commonplace for craft beers. I mean, you could only find many of those beers here in the Herat. So go through some of those lines that you were carrying back in the day where you were the leading bar carrying those beers.
At different times. I believe the Herat was the #1 seller of Guinness in the state of Indiana for about 6 years. It just wasn't sold. When we opened up, it wasn't on draft in this county at all. When Bell's first came to Indiana, we were #1 seller of Bell's for several years. As the market opened up and they went to Indianapolis with a much larger market area, of course, those things quickly pass.
Well, and it'd also be remiss if I didn't mention the wolf theme. That is not only a symbolism for the bar, it's also something near and dear to you as well.
Well, the brewery is Wolf's Head Brewing, but we've had wolf hybrids for 30-some years. Most of the beers are named after the wolf hybrids. The Red Imperial is Rygolfr, which is King Wolf in Old Norse.
Well, you alluded to the beers that you're brewing. And if you could talk a little bit about what led you to transition into brewing your own beer.
We'd been wanting to do it for years. Bob Cox, the brewer here, and I toured California, all the way to California and back, looking at small breweries and stuff. We just kind of drug our feet. It took us a while to get it going.
Well, the history of the bar, your successes, plus the beers you're brewing, you've received several awards as well. If you could talk about those awards, and what do you think has fed that success?
Draft Magazine, I think we've been rated in the top 100 best beer bars 6 or 7 years in a row. Rate Beer, we've been the #1 beer bar in Indiana. There's a couple others.
Well, Stan, thank you for letting us in and seeing behind the scenes. And can we go try some beers?
You're more than welcome to. We have several.
All right.
Here you guys go.
Thank
Enjoy your
you.
drink.
Thank you.
Cheers, Daryl.
Cheers.
That is cold and delicious.
You don't want to miss out on one of the best beer bars in America. Visit theherotpub.com for hours and directions. Erica, I can't think of a better way to end our trip to Muncie than a walk across the Ball State University campus.
Absolutely, it's perfect. We had so much fun here in Muncie, learning about the history and the city's commitment to education, places to get outside and stretch those legs, and of course, grab a pint. There are always wonderful events going on in Muncie year-round. For more information on the places we visited today, or to discover new destinations in the area, go to visitmuncie.org.
Well, that's all the time we have tonight. Thanks for joining us. Good night.
Production support for the weekly special is provided by IU School of Public Health Bloomington, addressing public health needs by preventing disease, promoting health, and improving quality of life across the state and around the world through research, teaching, and community engagement. The Al Cobain Recognition Endowment Fund, established by friends and family of Al Cobain to support jazz initiatives on WTIU and WFIU. And WTIU members, thank you.